Welcome back to Echo Tales. Before we dive into today's story of boundaries, self-respect, and the cold reality of consequences, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. We love hearing from our global community. Tell us in the comments, what city or country are you watching from today? Your support helps us keep sharing these powerful stories. Now let's begin. She said, "I've got other guys." I replied, "Then they can cover the bills too." That same night, I took my name off everything, canceled the account in her name, packed up, and moved out. I watched her so-called backup plans fall apart, and I just smiled knowing she was about to find out what life really costs without me. I'm Liam, 32. I work as a senior account manager for a regional insurance firm in Miami. It's not glamorous, but pays well. I'm structured. I track expenses. I invest regularly. I don't miss payments. I grew up watching my dad juggle 3 jobs, so stability matters to me more than appearances. My girlfriend, Maya, is 28. We've been together for 3 years. For the last 18 months, we lived together in a 2-bedroom apartment downtown. The lease was in both our names, but most of the financial weight wasn't evenly distributed. I paid the rent. I paid utilities. I paid internet. I covered most of the groceries. She worked in event marketing, which meant her income fluctuated. Some months were strong, some weren't. In the beginning, I didn't mind helping more. We were building something together, or so I thought. Maya liked attention. She thrived on it. Social media, group brunches, constant validation loops with her friends. If someone complimented her outfit, that story stayed up for 24 hours. If someone didn't text back fast enough, it became a full analysis session in our living room. For a long time, I thought it was harmless. But over the past 6 months, something shifted. She started mentioning other men casually, not directly threatening, just sprinkled into conversation. This guy at work said, I should be charging more for my time. My old college friend keeps saying he'd treat me like a queen. It wasn't insecurity at first. It was pattern recognition. The comments increased every time we argued about money. Because yes, we argued about money. I asked her twice this year to contribute more consistently toward rent. Nothing unreasonable, just predictability. She'd agree in the moment, then forget when the transfer date came. Last Friday night was the tipping point. We were in the kitchen arguing about bills again. The rent had just renewed at a higher rate. I told her we needed to split it more evenly going forward. She rolled her eyes and said something that made the room go quiet. You're acting replaceable. How about other guys, Liam? Don't think I don't. It wasn't loud. It wasn't a scream. It was delivered calmly, meant to land. I studied her face. Then I replied just as calmly. Then they can cover the bills, too. And that's when everything changed. She blinked like she didn't expect that answer. What did you just say? I repeated it. If you got other guys, then they can cover the bills, too. She let out this short laugh, the kind that's not amused, just irritated. Wow. So now you're jealous. This wasn't jealousy. It was math. I leaned against the counter and kept my tone even. You just implied you have backup options. I'm saying if those options are so solid, they can share the financial load. Her expression shifted from smug to defensive. You're twisting it. I didn't mean they'd actually pay for anything. So what did you mean? She hesitated. I mean, I'm not stuck. I have choices. That part one believed. She always needed leverage in arguments. Emotional leverage. Social leverage. Now, apparently financial leverage. But here's the thing. If someone tries to position themselves as optional, you can't keep acting like they're essential. I nodded slowly. Okay. Okay, what? Okay. You're not stuck. She stared at me like I was supposed to escalate, raise my voice, or defend my value. Instead, I walked to my office desk and opened my laptop. What are you doing? Reviewing our accounts. She rolled her eyes again. You're being dramatic. No, I'm being consistent. Over the next 30 minutes, I logged into everything. Electricity account in my name, internet in my name, streaming services in my name, the joint credit card I added her to 2 years ago as an authorized user. I didn't announce each click. I just started making changes. You're not serious, she said from the doorway. You just told me you have other guys. I'm assuming that means you don't need me financially. That's not what I said. It's what it implied. I removed her as an authorized user first. Then I scheduled service cancellations effective in 2 weeks. That gave her time to set up her own utilities if she chose to stay. What are you doing with the Wi-Fi? she asked sharply. Transferring it out of my name. You can't just do that. Yes, I can. It's my account. Her tone shifted again. You're punishing me. No, I'm stepping back. Silence filled the room because this wasn't a bluff. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't threatening. I was adjusting my financial exposure. And that same night, while she was still standing there waiting for me to back down, I booked a short-term rental across town. She thought she had leverage. She didn't realize she had just removed it. She didn't believe me until I started packing. At first, she hovered near the bedroom doorway like this was still part of the argument stage. Like eventually I'd slam a drawer shut and say something dramatic she could respond to. Instead, I pulled a suitcase from the closet and laid it flat on the bed. You're seriously leaving over a comment? She asked. Not over a comment. Over what it represents. Oh my God, you're so sensitive. That word didn't bother me. It clarified things. I folded my clothes neatly, not angrily, just methodical. You don't get to threaten replacement and still expect partnership, I said calmly. I wasn't threatening you. I said I have other guys. That doesn't mean I'd actually use them. That's not the point. She crossed her arms again. You're overreacting because I don't depend on you. Dependence isn't the goal. Respect is. That landed, but she deflected. You think you're so important because you pay for stuff. No, I think I'm important because I show up consistently. Silence. I finished packing the first suitcase and moved to the second. She followed me into the living room. So what? You're just going to abandon the apartment. The lease is both our names. You're welcome to stay. You'll just need to handle your half. Her face shifted at that. Handle my half? Yes. Rent increases next month. Utilities transfer out in 2 weeks. Internet, too. You can't just dump that on me. I didn't dump it. I've been covering most of it. She laughed again, but it sounded thinner now. You're bluffing. You'll cool off in a day. I didn't respond. Instead, I walked to the kitchen and removed my card from the grocery delivery app. Then, I canceled the shared meal kit subscription. What are you doing now? Removing my name from recurring expenses. You're being petty. No, I'm being precise. That's when I saw it register. This wasn't emotional retaliation. It was logistical separation. And logistical separation doesn't reverse easily. By midnight, my car was loaded. She stood by the door like she was waiting for one last line. Something cinematic. Instead, I picked up my keys. If those other guys are solid options, they'll step in. If not, I guess we'll both learn something. And I walked out. She didn't follow, but I could feel the confidence cracking behind me. I didn't drive around aimlessly. I went straight to the rental I booked. Clean, fully furnished. No emotional history attached to the walls. When I locked the door behind me, I felt something I didn't expect. Relief. Not anger, not heartbreak. Relief. I set my suitcase down and turned off notifications for the night. I didn't block her yet. I wanted to see what would happen when reality set in. It didn't take long. Around 8:30 the next morning, my phone lit up. Maya, are you seriously not coming back? I waited 10 minutes before responding. I moved out. Immediately, 3 dots appeared. Maya, so you're just giving up? Liam, I'm adjusting to what you said. Maya, you're so dramatic. Liam, you said you have other guys. Maya, that doesn't mean I want you gone. There it was, a leverage attempt. I replied, then don't use replacement as a bargaining chip. No response for a full hour. Then, the electricity bill just hit. Why did you remove autopay? Liam, because it's in my name. Maya, so what am I supposed to do? Liam, set it up under yours. That's when the tone changed. Maya, you know I don't have that kind of cash right now. Liam, that's why we were talking about splitting things evenly. Silence. An hour later, another message. Maya, the internet company says service ends in 10 days. You didn't tell me that. Liam, you were in the room. She sent a voice memo after that. I didn't open it. Text keeps things factual. By afternoon, she tried a new angle. Maya, I was just trying to remind you I have options. You're acting like I cheated. Liam, you don't have to cheat to show disrespect. That one sat unread for almost 20 minutes. Then came the message that told me the shift had started. Maya, my friend Elena said, you're insecure for reacting like this. Liam, Elena can cover the bills too. No response. Because here's the part she didn't calculate. Options sound impressive in conversation, but they sound different when rent is due. By that evening, I got the notification that the joint card balance had dropped to zero because I had frozen it. Backup plans don't usually come with billing statements, and she was about to find that out the hard way. By the third day, the tone of her messages shifted from defensive to frantic. Maya, the leasing office called. They said if one of us leaves, the remaining tenant has to requalify income. Liam, that's correct. Maya, you didn't tell me that. Liam, it's in the lease agreement. There was a long pause then. Maya, I can't qualify alone. That wasn't new information to me. I had qualified us both. She had contributed inconsistently, but liked the lifestyle. Maya, so what am I supposed to do? Liam, you have other guys. That message sat unread for almost 30 minutes. When she responded, the edge was gone. Maya, you're being cruel now. Liam, I'm being literal. A few hours later, she tried calling. I let it ring. Then she called again. And again. I declined all three. A text followed. Stop ignoring me. We need to talk like adults. Liam, we are through text. Maya, this isn't funny anymore. Liam, it wasn't funny when you said it. Silence. That night around 10:15 p.m., another message came through. Maya, Ethan says he can't help with rent. He has his own place. I stared at the screen for a second. Liam, I'm sure he does. Maya, why are you acting like this? Liam, acting like what? Maya, like you don't care. That was the part she couldn't accept. I cared enough to stop being used as leverage. The next morning, I woke up to 12 missed calls and 4 paragraphs waiting in my inbox. Long emotional swings, accusations, pleas, then back to insults. You're insecure. You're selfish. You're throwing away 3 years. I read them once. Then I made the final adjustment. I blocked her number, blocked her email, and removed her from social media. Not out of spite, out of completion. If someone positions you as replaceable, you don't argue your value. You remove access. By noon, I received a call from an unknown number. I let it ring. A voicemail came in. Her voice, Liam, don't do this. I didn't mean it like that. Call me back. I deleted it because this wasn't about winning. It was about consequence. And for the first time, she didn't control the direction of the conversation because there wasn't one anymore. After I blocked her, the noise stopped, at least directly. The unknown numbers started the next morning. One at 8:12 a.m., another at 9:47 a.m., 2 more around lunch. I didn't answer. I let them ring out. If a number wasn't saved in my phone, it didn't exist. By afternoon, she tried emailing from what looked like a new account. It went straight to spam. I didn't open it. I had already made the decision. That evening, I got a text from Nate. Bro, is everything okay? Maya just posted something about betrayal. I kept it simple. We broke up. It's handled. He didn't press. Apparently, she had started venting publicly now, heavily implying that I abandoned her without warning. Here is what she didn't mention. That she told me she had other guys, that she used replacement as leverage, and that I had been covering most of the bills for over a year. Stories are easier to tell when you remove the billing statements. 2 days later, the leasing office called me. Just confirming you vacated, they said. Maya asked about breaking the lease early. I kept my voice neutral. What are her options? They explained the early termination fee, 2 months rent plus penalties. I thanked them and hung up. That evening, I heard through mutual chatter that she had reached out to at least 3 different guys asking if they knew anyone looking for a roommate. Backup plans rarely include co-signers. The unknown numbers kept calling for a few days. I didn't answer. Once someone realizes you won't engage, the urgency fades. A week later, I ran into one of her friends at the gym. Elena looked uncomfortable. Maya's kind of stressed, she said carefully. She didn't expect you to actually leave. I nodded. That was clear. She thought you'd cool off. I didn't reply because cooling off only works if you were heated. I wasn't. I was finished. About 10 days after I moved out, the financial reality started surfacing publicly through logistics. The leasing office emailed both of us about the pending rent. She hadn't paid her portion. Late fee notice attached. I didn't respond. My portion had been covered. After that, it was on her. Elena sent a text later. Maya asked if I could talk to you. I replied once. No. She sent back a neutral emoji and didn't push. That told me enough. If Maya had strong backup, she wouldn't be sending messengers. By the end of that week, I heard through Nate that she tried asking Ethan again for help. Apparently, He offered advice, not money. Options are plentiful when nothing costs anything. They thin out quickly when rent is due. I wasn't stalking updates, but she'd listed the apartment looking for a roommate. 3 interviews, 2 backed out after seeing the rent. The third asked about splitting utilities. Utilities she now had to transfer fully into her name. Electricity deposit, internet setup fee, water reconnection. Life adds up quietly. I stayed focused on my own routine. Work had picked up. I finalized a contract and realized something. For the first time in a year, I wasn't calculating someone else's spending habits against my budget. I wasn't wondering if rent would clear. Peace isn't loud, it's subtraction. Friday night, Nate and I grabbed dinner. "You don't seem angry at all," he said. "I'm not. You don't feel bad?" "I feel informed. Informed that threats of replacement come from insecurity. Informed that leverage collapses when you remove yourself." He laughed. "Fair." Later that night, I checked my bank account. Everything steady. And for the first time since that kitchen argument, I smiled. Not because she was struggling, but because I wasn't. About 3 weeks after I moved out, I got an email from the leasing office. Maya had officially requested early termination. The penalty was confirmed. 2 months rent plus fees. The total was not small. I replied once. "I vacated on X date. I am not renewing." An hour later, an unknown number called. Ignored. 10 minutes later, Nate texted, "She's panicking." I didn't respond. Apparently, she'd been telling people I left her with nothing, but she wasn't telling them she triggered the separation herself. She had said she had other guys. She had positioned me as optional. Optional means removable. That weekend, Elena told me Maya thought Ethan might co-sign the early termination fee. He said no. People enjoy being backup options when it's theoretical, less so when it involves paperwork. On Monday morning, I received one final unknown call. I let it ring. By midweek, I learned she had moved out of the apartment entirely. Found a smaller place, a studio in an older building with no skyline view. There's nothing wrong with a studio, but it wasn't the lifestyle she'd grown used to. Lifestyle is easy to maintain when someone else absorbs the volatility. That night, I sat in my rental reviewing my finances. I'd already started apartment hunting again, this time alone. No fluctuating contributions, just clear numbers. I thought back to that argument. "You're acting replaceable." No, I was acting consistent. And consistency is expensive when you lose it. She thought leverage would keep me in place. Instead, it revealed how much of the structure was mine. A month after I moved out, the dust finally settled. No more unknown calls. No more indirect messages. Just quiet. I had moved into a new apartment by then. 1 bedroom, clean lines, entirely mine. The lease had one name on it. The utilities had one name. Predictability feels different when it's not shared with someone who treats it as optional. I ran into Elena again at a coffee shop. "She didn't think you'd actually follow through," she said. "She thought saying she had other guys would scare you into stepping up more." I stir my coffee slowly. Threatening replacement is a gamble. Sometimes it removes the person you're trying to control. Elena nodded. "She keeps saying you changed." I didn't argue. I did change. I stopped negotiating my value. That night, I thought about that kitchen moment. I've got other guys. She expected jealousy. She expected competition. What she got was subtraction. Then they can cover the bills, too. That wasn't spite. It was symmetry. If I was replaceable, so were my contributions. The last thing I heard was that she downsized her lifestyle significantly. Life really costs something when you're the one signing. About 6 weeks after I moved out, I got the final confirmation from the leasing office. My name was cleared. Clean closure. I ran into Nate again. "You handled that differently than most guys," he said. I shrugged. Most guys try to win arguments. I just adjusted the math. You can't threaten replacement and expect permanence. Vanessa had moved into a smaller studio permanently and stopped talking about other guys entirely. Reality doesn't argue. It invoices. I didn't reach out. I didn't need a last word. I learned that when someone reminds you they have options, don't argue for your place. Let them test those options. If they're real, they'll hold. If they're not, the collapse won't be your fault. I didn't walk away angry. I walked away informed. And sometimes that's worth more than any argument you could ever win. Thank you for listening to this story on Echo Tales. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories. Until next time.